What is going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com, and I got a free pick for you from this Pitt versus Ohio State college basketball matchup going down on Friday, November 28th, 2025. But before we get to that free pick, if you are looking for my best bets, the games that I love the most, the ones that I have the most money on every single day, you can head to Pickdawgz.com. You can click the Premium Picks tab or the Experts tab at the top of the page. With how much free pick content that we have at Pickdawgz, you know that these plays on the premium side are the best of the best. So Pickdawgz Premium is for. But we've also got our inner circle. It's something we've been mentioning a lot in our videos as of late. It's not for everyone. It's for those who are placing larger bets of at least $1,000 or more per game, which is the requirement to be accepted into this service. But we've had a lot of big bettors and high rollers join this club already. You know, having a lot of success early on with the one-on-one coaching, the bankroll management, the early releases. So if this sounds like something that's for you, reach out to the number on the screen and we'll get you some more information. But let's get to this one between Pitt and Ohio State. Pitt coming into this one 4-3 on the year off an 83-75 upset loss at home to Quinnipiac in their last matchup, while Ohio State a perfect 6-0 on the year, knocking off Mount St. Mary's 113-60. But it's worth noting for Ohio State that as good as this team has been, you know, they lead the country in 2-point shooting 67.4% from 2-point range. They're top 40 in 3-point shooting almost 39%. You know, they're top 25 in free throw shooting 79.1% from the line. The problem for me with Ohio State is that you do a little bit of digging. They played the 359th ranked strength of schedule in the country, and you know that includes games over IU Indy, Purdue Fort Wayne, App State, Western Michigan, and Mount St. Mary's, with the toughest game being a 1-point home win over Notre Dame. So, you know, and Notre Dame, not a team that I hold in very high regard. You know, Notre Dame, you know, a team that got, you know, throttled by Kansas in the Players Era Festival. They got shut down by Houston. They did beat Rutgers, but that's really not saying a whole lot. So, you know, Notre Dame, just not a good enough win for me to really give Ohio State much of a benefit of the doubt outside saying, yeah, congrats, you went 6-0 at home against a bunch of cupcakes for the most part. Now, I'm not saying that makes them a bad team. I'm just saying you got to take the results with a grain of salt. Now, do I want to lay 5.5 points with Ohio State in their first true road game of the season? Well, Pitt, you know, is not the best team out there. Like I said, they've taken a couple losses in their true step-up spots, you know, to West Virginia, where they got blown out on the road, and UCF, where they got blown out, you know, by double digits in what was somewhat of a true road game in Daytona Beach. And they did lose at home to Quinnipiac, and that was a really tough one to see if you were, you know, a Pitt fan, because Quinnipiac is not a team that you should be losing to, especially at home when you have 4 double-digit scores. And Quinnipiac only had 2 players scoring double figures, but it was a game where, you know, Quinnipiac was just a better team when all was said and done, and they led by as many as 13 points with less than 2 minutes to go in the second half, and the largest lead that Pitt had in that game was 5 points just under 5 minutes into the game. So it was never really that much of a runaway for Pitt in that game. Quinnipiac was in it the entire way. Maybe that says more about Quinnipiac, maybe being an underrated team in the MAC this season, the MAC with 2 A's. But, you know, Pitt, I still think at home is still a decent team. You know, we've seen them go 4-0 in their first true home games before, you know, losing to Quinnipiac. And like I said, I just don't necessarily love the first true road game for Ohio State, given what we've seen from the strength of schedule. You know, this is a spot where I'm going to pay to find out if Ohio State is legit as their record indicates. Because like I said, a 1-point win in your toughest game and toughest opponent of the season, which is Notre Dame, which again for me is not saying a whole lot. You know, it doesn't necessarily give a whole lot of merit to the numbers. So this is going to be a true test for Ohio State. I'm going to take Pitt plus the points. I think they at least keep it close. Maybe, you know, since we're seeing a 5.5 point line, I could easily see a 4 or 5 point Ohio State win at best here. So, like I said, I'm going to pay to find out if Ohio State's legit. Give me Pitt and the points in this one. That's going to be my free pick for this game. Thank you so much for checking out this free pick video. Let me know who you guys like in this game in the comment section below. And remember, if you are looking for my best bets, you can head to Pickdawgz Premium, or you can click the link in the description of this video below and use the promo code PICK, that's P-I-C-K, at checkout. Get 15% off your purchase. Best of luck. We'll see you guys soon.